welcome to the Behind the Tea podcast with Rob and Kelly. Well, Rob, what can I say? It's been quite the crazy, 36, 48 hours in the
I've
curling
lost
world.
count. That's right. And if you're listening to this, you're probably listening to it a couple of weeks after the day that we're referring to, but I bet you know what day we're referring to.
Yeah, so I guess we're week 7 or 8 in the
Or
bubble.
25, I don't know.
There's been 3 full competitions, and this is the 4th one, and it's the first one where there has been an outbreak in the
hmm
bubble, which
Yeah.
is
And
surprising,
right.
but also not that surprising.
Well, I don't know. As far as I know, a few other sports did this bubble concept
Mhm.
when they returned to play. Like not right now, but hockey when they finished last season, they did a bubble concept in both Toronto and Edmonton. Not Calgary. I know Major League Soccer had a bubble down in Florida, and the NBA had another bubble in Florida. And as far as I know, those competitions went on for months and months without any positive cases at all. So more athletes, more of a precarious situation in soccer and basketball being in the United States. And so this is the first bubble bursting that I know of in sports. So kind of a big deal.
At the moment, everything seems somewhat contained and manageable, so hopefully it doesn't turn into a full outbreak.
Right. This only happened yesterday.
Yeah, so let's give a little more details in case you missed this breaking news when it occurred. So Friday was the last day of the round robin and the first playoff game where Canada played against
Scotland.
Scotland.
You're welcome. Hey, I feel useful.
Yeah, so Canada played against Scotland, and unfortunately, Canada was eliminated that game. I guess we can talk a little bit about that later on, and we'll circle back to that. And then the next game, Switzerland versus US, was supposed to be played this morning, or not this morning, Saturday morning. And we all woke up to the news that a couple players from the non-playoff teams tested positive on their way out of the bubble, which kind of put a halt on everything because if they and apparently they were asymptomatic, which is
Right.
why I guess it wasn't caught on earlier. So all of the remainder people in the bubble had to take tests again, and they essentially put the whole competition on hold until everyone kind of like tested negative. So there was no curling at all on Saturday, and it was kind of left up in the air as to what was going to happen. I know there was some talk of starting the games again on Sunday, but it was still not confirmed. I guess it.
Right. And they have a Grand Slam scheduled to start, I believe, Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
So they're kind of under the gun to get it all in.
Exactly. Fortunately, though, all the Grand Slam teams are staying at another hotel, so it's like bubble part 2, so they weren't necessarily affected by the world's bubble. But anyway, so then we woke up this morning to find out that the event will continue, and they're cramming in all of the games today on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And the first game, so that USA Switzerland game was played at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And that was, I guess, a quarterfinal game, you can call it, because the semis
Yeah, I
are
guess.
are being played at 6 p.m. and then
And then how about that final?
at 11 p.m. at night. And I mean, I really want to watch this game, one for the podcast content, but just also for my own pure entertainment. And you know, it's an important game. But
But we have day jobs. We're not paid to podcast, so
exactly, my standard bedtime is like 10:30, 11 o'clock.
I know this has been a tough week of everything going down to the 10th end and interesting things happening in these late draws and yeah, just
Well, even
I've been exhausted all week
well, even
from watching sports.
well, even that Friday night game of Canada versus Scotland, I was following.
We were having a great conversation through text, and then I was, Kelly's not replied for a while.
Well, the thing is that I made myself comfortable on the couch, and starting at the 8th end, I started watching with my ears instead of my eyes. And so I'd kind of like doze off, keep my eyes closed, and then I would watch the last 2 shots. And then I didn't realize, you know how sometimes you close your eyes and then you don't really realize that you're sleeping?
You think you're still paying
You think you're
attention.
still
Yeah.
paying attention, but you're not. And so I'd wake up and I'd see, Scotland coming to throw the last rock. I have no idea how the end got situated as it did. But that's how I watched that game.
Yeah, I do admit I've watched a few games and listened to a few podcasts for that matter in the same fashion, with eyes closed and thinking I'm getting it all, but not really. So it'll be a late night. I'm gonna try and experiment actually, Kelly.
Okay.
So I'll tell you about this. Because I have to work all day tomorrow. So I'm not really in the mood to stay up till 2 in the morning watching curling on a
Mhm.
Sunday night. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tape the game. I hope it actually is on TSN this time so that I don't tape a bunch of golf.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Do you actually just want to talk
Yeah,
about
we should.
that for a second?
Yeah, let's acknowledge that first before I get back to my little
So we
experiment.
had a little minor freak out this afternoon. So we all found out like minutes before it was going to start that the game was going to happen out, or not minutes, but there wasn't much buffer time
Today.
between when we found out the competition was going to continue and when the first game played. Even actually, I was listening to the post game just now with De Cruz and his interview, and he said the team woke up at 8 a.m. this morning, Calgary time, and then they were told that they were going to play today. And they were just like, "Oh, okay." And
Okay.
they essentially woke up and got to the arena. But from our end, we've been watching this whole competition on TSN, and I log onto the computer because I stream it online because millennials don't have cable, and it says
Uh-huh.
TSN won the men's world qualifier championship game, and then all of the other TSNs were playing the Masters, but then there was still no curling, and everyone was like, "What's happening? Where's the curling? Where can we watch it?" And we ended up watching it on YouTube.
And we should say, because we were all confused and thinking maybe this is a mistake, but then again, everything has been so crazy this weekend that you never know. I was going, oh man, are there more delays? And we believe that TSN, that one of the players in this Switzerland versus US game was positive and was allowed to play, or positive and then negative, whatever that means.
Yeah, so obviously you have to test a couple times, and
Hmm.
yeah, that we still don't know which player it is. They didn't announce it. I have a hunch as to who it could be, just based off of the non-playoff teams that tested positive. But we're not going to speculate. It's not the point.
No.
But that player, yeah, they tested positive first, and then in their second test, they tested negative, and then the Alberta Health Board, or whatever,
Signed off on
yeah,
that.
committee, is like monitoring this, signed off on them playing.
But I don't think TSN did.
No, and apparently, like it seemed like, or this article implied that TSN pulled their crew like at the last minute, being like, "Oh no, we're not."
Which is fair enough, I think, just because hopefully everybody's safe and that this is truly a negative case. However, I don't think anything has ever happened that quickly in anything COVID. This has all happened in 24 hours. This whole positive negative thing was within the space of a couple of hours. We should acknowledge that I believe this is going to be true for the remainder of the competition, but everybody was wearing masks during the game.
Yep, yep,
So,
and they will for the rest of the
and they
day.
will for the rest.
Yeah,
Yeah. So a bit of a different scenario now.
but you know what? It actually was kind of nice to watch it on YouTube. So we had so the
I'm
world.
glad you. I felt the same way.
So the World Curling Federation has been also streaming all of the games, not just Canada, all of the
Hmm.
games on YouTube, and it's different people doing the color commentary for each game. But today we had the pleasure of listening to Mike Harris, not the former Premier of Ontario, the other Mike Harris, and
Oh, going for a good reference there.
yeah, and Kevin Martin.
The should be premier of Alberta.
Yeah. And I think like they're very knowledgeable in the game and they bring good like insight to what's going on. But what was even better is that we did not have to listen to any of the commercials.
I know. That was the first thing I realized, is that it's nice to just stare at the sheets that are empty
Yeah,
when in between ends.
it was
It was such a
quiet.
relief to not hear about pod shatter and sclerotinia and swathing and straight cutting and
Or
I'm only human.
yeah, I was just gonna say that song. It was so refreshing not to hear it.
Quick aside, I saw my brother this weekend from a distance, and he doesn't have cable, so, and he doesn't stream either. So he has been completely in the dark about everything curling related this year. And he had no idea about the I'm Only Human saga that we are living through.
Are you serious?
I am serious. I had to explain to him the whole thing, and that many of our listeners have written angry emails to or Kruger or whoever, and he was completely in the dark about that. So get with the program, Daniel.
Yeah, get with the program, but actually it's probably best for him not to.
Not to get with it. But yeah, it was a nice change to see the games on YouTube. I actually checked out a couple of games on YouTube this week because one of the complaints we've had, it's not a complaint, but it's just an observation, let's say, is that when Canada's playing a team that they're going to destroy, while Switzerland is playing Sweden on the next sheet, or RCF or somebody really good, I mean, that's the game you kind of want to see. So I just flipped to the YouTube channel, and Mike Harris, Jill Officer was also there commentating this
Yep.
week. Melissa Saligo, who I hear every now and then. Luke Coley, I don't know if you remember him.
No.
For the Curl TV days, he was calling a couple of games, and so they were
I know
good.
when the Worlds are based internationally, they have quite a few European people commentating instead of but I guess now they're stuck with people who can get to Calgary. So yeah. No, it's it's nice to hear different voices and to get different opinions. Rush, Cheryl, and Vic do a good job, and Kathy too. Let's not forget her. They do a good job, but it is also nice to. It is a breath of fresh air when you
we've
hear
been
different
living
voices.
with them for a month, it feels like.
Well, Kathy's been there for what, 2 months now?
Kathy pretty much has never left.
No.
No, she hasn't left. And yeah, I feel for her. And by the way, one quick downside though to watching the game on YouTube that I quickly discovered is, and it's not really a downside because you just full screen it and the chat disappears, but there is an ongoing chat going on during the game. And my first thought was like, oh, well, you know, they're curlers. They should be friendly. They should be, oh, nice. And a lot of them are, let's be fair. I even thought we should log into the Behind the Tee account and be like, for more information, listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
But there were some anti-mask comments there in the chat about why are they wearing masks? This pandemic hysteria has gone on long enough. And just, oh my God, people.
Yeah. Well, I think
get this back on TSN so we don't have to listen to you morons.
I'm sure some of them. I'm sure there were some true anti-maskers there.
Right, or internet trolls. But
that's the thing. I think there's a lot of internet trolls just trying to, you know, cause havoc in the chat. But that's a good point, actually. So I'm sure you can do this on your TV, Rob, but you can cast your laptop to your TV.
I actually can't.
So that's what I did. I did not see the chat. Although I could open my computer at the same time, but there is a little cast button that on YouTube, if you press it, it will. If you have your TV open, it should.
Yeah, I have a very old TV. It doesn't allow for that, but
well, upgrade your TV then.
One day, yeah, I know. One of the many things I got to do.
When you live life without cable, it's kind of the only way to watch things on TV. So.
Oh, so just I should finish the thought about my experiment here, because tonight's final is on at 11 o'clock at night. We both really want to know how it ends, but we kind of don't want to stay up for it. So what I'm going to try, and I work all day tomorrow. I have a part-time job in the evening, so I'm working it tomorrow night as well. So I'm not going to be able to watch this until probably 9 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm going to attempt to PVR it. I can do that with my TV. That's about all. And watch it tomorrow night and try to completely dodge all social media, all news, turn off notifications. I'll put my phone on airplane mode for a day or something and just see how this goes. Can I escape the news for a day? That's my question.
Hold on. I'm going to up the ante here because you made me think of something. So have you ever you've heard of the Super Bowl challenge before, right?
No.
I don't know if that's what it's called, but this is what I'm calling it. And it started with a couple guys. They essentially, because you know how big the Super Bowl is, and
of course,
it's impossible to escape it. So a bunch of guys, they have this bet going, or this is how I heard about it. Yeah. So you have these guys, they have a bet going, and it's to see, they don't watch the Super Bowl, and they try to do like what you want to do to not find out who wins. And the person who can go the longest without being spoiled wins the pot of money. Or whatever they said. And some of them have gone like a few months, and that's difficult.
That's See, I wonder if I would deserve a prize for that because I want to see, and then I bet a week later I won't even remember who won. So I think I deserve something for that.
Yeah, I think the hardest parts are just the imminent days after the competition, and then it kind of gets lost. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you
So,
want to do that, we can see how long you can go before you
well,
figure it out.
I kind of will have to talk about it next week. So I will watch it tomorrow night. I think it'll be interesting. Can I avoid all coverage of everything for a week right now, or for a night? Sorry,
Hmm.
because I get notifications on my phone about sports things, so I'll have to turn that off. I do work with a couple of curlers, so if I see them tomorrow, I'll be like, oh, gotta hide. That'll be really awkward.
I guess I'll have to take over the behind the tee dot curling Instagram page.
For 24 hours,
Yeah.
yes. So I will, yeah, even you, I'm not going to talk to you for 24
No,
hours.
I can't text you about whatever
I
happens.
know.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I'll airplane mode for a day.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know how long I'll be able to last tonight. Maybe I'm pretty sure that tonight's game, I'm just gonna take my laptop to bed.
Yeah, let me know if you try it, and I won't write you either. But I've speaking of airplanes, I've tried this before. I remember being on a plane during the Brier final. And who flies during the Brier final? But I mean, I had no choice. And I'm thinking, like I'm flying to Montreal. There's no way that I'm gonna find out amongst the passengers. There's no way any curler here will. And the plane lands, everybody turns their phone on, and I hear everybody through the Glenn Howard lost the Brier. Oh, great, thank you. I had taped it, but I'd never thought that that'd be the first thing people check. But there were curlers on that airplane.
There's curlers everywhere.
It's a good thing.
But yeah, I know I'm kind of like them. I can't really watch a game after it's happened. Like I either I watch it live or I don't watch it, and I
Yeah, me
just
too. I don't really believe in this, but this is more for the experiment.
I see. Well, just speaking of bets, I want to recap our predictions
Oh
from
no.
uh from I guess 2 weeks ago now, before this whole competition started. I'm already out because I had predicted Botcher to win, to take it all.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
okay.
they didn't even make
I
they're not
thought you had
medaling.
I thought you had a Dean.
Nope.
Goes to show what I know. Okay.
Nope, but hold on, I'm trying to find my notes here.
I believe I had Peter DeCruz.
You did. So I had DeCruz and Eden as my other medalers, but you put Muat and then DeCruz to win, and Botcher also in there, but
Okay.
yeah, he's out. So I might. So this is what's interesting as well. This whole week has been kind of weird. When we talked last week, there were like unexpected teams at the top, and like Switzerland was doing good, but then they kind of went through a little lull midway through the week, and they were borderline not even going to get into the playoffs. Canada as
Hmm.
well, they were one game away from not making the top 6,
Hmm.
which I know we had talked about. We're like, could you imagine if they lost to Norway, which was that final game?
Which, and just to quickly, I know that was probably a rhetorical question, but yes, I could imagine they dealt with a lot of adversity this week,
Yeah.
and I think that we should just quickly acknowledge that. Yeah, it was a little bit close, and
Too close for comfort, I would say.
yeah, and was that because Canada played bad? I mean, they didn't maybe play up to the level that we would expect. However, I don't think it was because they were bad. It's that the rest of the world is really good. There's a lot of
Mhm.
adversity out there.
The other teams are getting better. Well, look at it. Russia they finished number 2.
It's amazing. It's good
Yeah,
for the sport.
exactly. And
And
Norway, they started at the top and they just kind of
that's
fell.
right. And I mean, I know that TSN and they were having a lot about how, like, oh, this is so important for Canada, and Canada. It was very pro Canada, which I understand. They're the national sports broadcaster here, so okay. But one thought that I had, or from a listener, aka my mom, who she heard that there was something about this was Nicholas Edin's 100th trip to Canada or something like that.
Yeah, I heard that too.
It came out okay, and I was thinking, so do we even care who wins this? Nicholas Edin pretty much is Canadian at this point.
Yes.
Like, I think we should just adopt him. So he curls for Sweden. Who cares?
I feel like he'll move here once he retires, just
Yeah,
because
why not?
we'll adopt him. Here's your
Yeah.
passport. Have
Oh,
fun.
he can join our ladder team.
Oh, yes.
So let's recap here. So it's you, me. We're trying to get Brian Mudrick, Tom Brady, and now we
Nicholas
need that.
Sedin.
We always need a fifth player, right?
Yeah.
Like we need backup
Well,
players.
yeah,
So
because you
there,
always need those spares on days where you have to work late or you're sick.
exactly.
So yeah, I think we got a
We even
stacked
push it to
team.
6 people sometimes. Randy Furby.
Randy could be our fifth man.
There you go.
Yeah. But even other teams like Italy, they did really well too. They were contenders for quite a while. Like I said, Norway, it was a new team, or I guess it's the next team now that Olsherd is retired.
I'm not over that, by the way.
But and then there's like we said, the Dutch. I give them a few more years, maybe they'll be more content. Like
And even the South Korean team,
yeah,
who had a pretty bad week overall. If you look at their record, I think they only won 2 games. I think maybe 3. But one of them was Canada. And I don't care what your record is. If you beat Canada, you deserve a lot of accolades. So,
for
except
sure.
that they did wear white socks. Another listener let me know that.
Yeah, I remember because they were all black and then they just had the white sock, which apparently is a no-no. On your point there of like, yeah, other teams are getting better, and it's not just boccer. Like I think there has been a trend where Canada is struggling to get those gold medals, and we can just see like in the Olympics, neither Cooey nor Homan got medals, which was a shocker. Canada was not
Hmm.
happy. But even in other worlds, like we struggled on the men's side and the women's. And in one of the games, Russ was talking about how there needs to be a change, a culture change within Canada.
Yes.
And this is what kind of surprised me too, because they keep talking about or referring to this little black book of curling, which a lot of players have, but it's like their own personal one, and it's basically just notes on the rocks and what they do and whatnot. Because we all know for the worlds they use the World Curling Federation rocks. It's always the same ones at every competition. Well, not the same ones. Like if they're in North America, it's the same ones, and they have another set for
Right.
Europeans. But apparently, that book isn't shared, or there's
Hmm.
not that much like sharing with teams who've represented Canada in the past and like helping the new recruits because they're I guess they're still competitors in a sense, right? Because if I share too much knowledge, well, then next year we're going to be competing against
Right.
each other, and then that might hinder my
Right. It
chances.
seems weird to have the concept of Brad Gushu phoning up, like last year's champion, phoning up Brendan Botcher and trying to help him
Hmm.
win these things. They go at it so often that and I'm not saying anything about Brad Gushu here, but just based on the way the sport is gone, I feel like Botcher would pick up the phone and be like, is he trying to like fool me?
Yeah.
Is he trying to double cross me or something? And, I guess what we're saying is the mentality should be every Canadian team should do whatever they can to help themselves out. Not obviously when they're playing each other,
Hmm.
but
Well, I get the impression that no one's reaching out to help. They did say that when Botcher won, Colton was one of the only Canadian players, Colton Flash, to reach out and share his notes from when he went the year prior. So anyway, so Mark Kennedy was there as the alternate, just in case if Molding's back was gonna flare up again. But in the whole process of getting him on the team, like Mark Kennedy essentially promised that he wasn't going to take
mhm.
any insider botcher team information to Jacobs to use it against them in next year, right? Which is amazing.
Yeah,
But
good for him.
but yeah, I guess it's true that Canada's missing that country like supporting each other.
And it's too bad because it's in the nature of the sport to be respectful of everybody and to I don't know. I don't really believe in trying to be hell bent on winning at all costs, and so I think just doing anything like this that's ethical and respectful of everybody's privacy and whatever, good for him. Now, I don't know how truthful you can be with that just because I don't know. I feel like there's little things that you will pick up just by being on the inside that how are you not going to share? I don't know. I can't think of anything specific, but
No, but it's kind of like that thing, like once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Like once you know it, you can't just forget about it,
mhm.
right? So it does stay at the back of your mind, if you will. But yeah, I guess maybe because we have so many people at that really top elite level and it is very competitive. When everyone is
Mhm.
that good, like those little things do make a difference. And but at the same time, it's kind of hindering Canada in
I suppose.
the world.
And we've debated also like other things that Canada can change, and I mean, there's always little things we can tweak. But I'll say it again. I don't think we should start a big inquiry
No,
as
no.
to. I think honestly, the reason the rest of the world is doing well is because of the Canadian influence on the game, and this is a good thing. It's good for the sport. It's
And let's say that
which I've said before.
in case no one knows, like a lot of these European teams spend a lot of time in Canada competing anyways.
Exactly. If this is all a matter of pride about how we have to be number one, well, we no one's ever going to dispute that this is the only curling country in the world, pretty much, or to the extent that we cover curling or appreciate it in this country. No other country is ever going to come close to that. So I think as long as that's still true, then what are we upset about?
I guess it's just that we're so used to seeing Canada medal and get gold medals or go through the worlds at like 12 and 1 or something. And when we don't see that, it's a little disappointing.
It's true, but you know what, Kelly? We live in Montreal. We're used to
That's
our
true.
parents, anyways, are used to the Canadians have gone more than 2 years without a Stanley Cup. Well, welcome to modern times. It's things are not automatic anymore.
No, you have to work for it. And it's going to get harder from here. But I am happy at least that we got our Olympic spot and that's something we don't have to
Yes,
worry about. But could you imagine, like, could you just imagine Facebook and Instagram and all of the comments that would have happened if they had lost and
it
not
would have
made
been
the top
interesting.
6?
Well, we were saying this week, well, we can have podcast content for years
I
with
know.
if it wasn't pulled off.
Yeah, because then Canada would have had to play in the qualifying event in December, which I don't think we've ever played in
I don't think so.
because we always
I
got a spot through
It's pretty
qualifying.
much
Yeah.
automatic. Yeah. And by the way, one other note about this, because I mean, so much in the sports world is up in the air, including whatever we're covering today,
Yeah.
um, include and the Olympics. I mean, who knows what the situation will be like tomorrow, let alone next year. But another possibility I was reading about, due to political situations, is the possibility of a Canadian boycott at the Beijing Olympics. There's a lot of tension between the two countries right now, in the U.S. as well. And just speaking of the U.S., if they were to do that, I'm thinking of our old pal Jamie Sinclair, who is living in a house with her teammates for a full year trying to get to Beijing. And it's one thing if you don't qualify; it's another if you do. And now, no one I think will be more affected from a boycott than Jamie Sinclair.
That's true. I definitely heard about the boycott. To be honest, I don't know if it really means anything. I feel like every Olympic cycle, or at least the past ones, people have been crying for boycotts. It hasn't happened. Or even the FIFA World Cup, which the next one's supposed to happen in Qatar. And let me tell you, there are a lot of bad things happening in Qatar right now, and just involving that competition. And everyone's kind of calling for a boycott. But the thing is, it's a little hard because no one country wants to pull out and be the only country to pull out, but then no one's going to pull out if no one actually pulls
Mm-hmm.
out. Because it's like it's a one for all type of thing, which I can kind of see the Olympics being like. I don't see Canada being like, we're going to pull out and be the only country that pulls out of the Beijing Olympics. Like, I totally understand the reasoning why you would want to, but the actual implications.
Yeah, it's to actually follow through with
Yeah.
it would be, you just don't see it very often.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I don't think there's been any major boycotts at the Olympics from, well, there's always boycotts, but that's a bit insulting. But to like by this will get us in more trouble, but from a very notable country with a big presence at the Olympics, I don't think that's happened since the 1980s. The Soviet boycott at the Los Angeles Games, I know about that, but I think that was the last major one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
But speaking of political tensions and countries not thinking very highly of one another, let's get in more trouble here, Kelly.
Okay.
So, because I know we've made the comment before about how Canada is always a driving force in curling, but how are we perceived around the world curling wise? Because we've both, I mean, done a little bit of curling. We've had a bit of curling experience in other countries. You a lot more so than me. So you're pretty in the know. I'm putting you on the spot of of what things are like in other countries. How are we perceived around the world?
Mm,
Feel free if you don't want to answer
good
this.
question. I'll keep my answer very general. I think as a whole, Canada is definitely well perceived. I mean, every international curler, whether it be from Europe or Asia or whoever I've met, whether it's a country that is just starting curling or that's been curling for a long time, it's always their dream to come and play in Canada. Like they all want to come and play in Canada. They know that the best curling happens in Canada. But I guess if you get to that more elite level, it's not so much they don't like Canada, but maybe they prefer certain teams over others.
Okay.
And it's more like certain teams may have a more negative reputation than others. I'm not going to name drop anyone. I don't want to get us into any more trouble. But yeah, I have heard stories. Let's say these certain players or certain teams, they're not it's not like they're overly rude or mean or anything like that. It's more that they come in with this big ego, and in a way it's yeah, you're probably the best curler there, right? But can we have a little bit of humility and still be
Oh,
nice? And
Kelly with the diplomatic answer here.
yeah, so
I was hoping you were going to say like, "Oh, everyone hates us."
it's more like an attitude that's just a little more off-putting, because we all know, and we've mentioned it a lot on this podcast, curling puts a huge emphasis on good sportsmanship and just being like a good person and respectful.
Yeah, and we don't need to mention people in particular. I was just thinking a lot this week that if I were a competitive curler out of Switzerland, Sweden, Scotland, or other countries that don't start with S, I would really want to beat Canada. I
Oh,
feel like
that's definitely true too. Like they would like to see like as much as they want to come to Canada and play and respect Canada for being so great, like it is
but
nice
yeah, I'm
to.
assuming there is no bigger honor. Like when I felt really happy for the Korean team. That was probably one of the biggest moments in Korean curling. The fact that they could go to the World Men's and beat the Canadian representatives. Again, good for the sport, good for them. Hopefully, they can do something with this. But yeah, just the thought that I feel like we're the bad guys.
We are. But that comes with being the top team for so long, right?
Exactly, and
Everyone wants
so
to beat you.
that's right. And I'm not calling out anything about Team Botcher, the way they conduct themselves. Not at all. Although we do think that there's some illegal sweeping going on. But not anything like that. It's just acknowledging that it means a lot for the other countries when they get to beat us. And my
Mhm.
thought this week was that, I mean, curling's a pretty respectful sport. I would like to think that if I were representing Canada, everyone would want to beat me, but they would also, because we're curlers and we're awesome people, they would like us. It just made me think, they must really hate us in hockey. Because in hockey, it's kind of the same
Yeah.
story. You want to beat Canada, and the polite, respectful nature that we associate with Canada and curling, I do not associate with hockey.
That's
I
true.
associate arrogance and oh boy, I don't know.
I think the whole hockey world is just completely foreign. I think hockey players should play a little curling and learn some good sportsmanship, because
And we're not saying all hockey players, but there's
mm,
certainly.
there's definitely a very strong stereotype of the hockey player. Let's talk a little bit about Botcher. Obviously they didn't perform as well as they did, but to be fair, it was their first time at the World Championship, and it is a
Mhm.
different experience than competing in the Brier. And obviously, like they really wanted to win, and they must feel like so bad and disappointed of their performance, but to still acknowledge like they did play well and they put their heart and soul into it.
Yeah, if you were looking for a good representative of the country, I don't think you have any complaints or any valid complaint. They represented us very admirably.
Yeah, and they're very except for that one little incident against the Dutch.
Mm.
Every other game, they're very like respectful. They're not gouging or broom slamming the ice, and they just seem like very nice guys. And
No, and I think that there was a lot of pressure on them, and they maybe did not play as well as we're accustomed to seeing them play, but they still carried the load pretty well.
yeah, well, like you said, yeah, there was a lot of pressure put on them, but I also think that they put a lot of pressure on themselves too, that
Hmm.
may have resulted in some poorer performances, and that's also normal, like to be expected. You're representing Canada, Canada. expects medals, and that's like a lot of like, if I were in their shoes, I'd put a lot of pressure on myself too.
And as we've said before too, if you're looking for heads to roll or for somebody to blame, I mean, I think you're in the wrong business, first of all. But really, don't put too much stock in anything that's happening this year.
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
think that, like, if had we failed to come top six, I still would have said, okay, hold off the inquiry, hold off
Yeah.
the firings and all of that. What's the point in doing a serious deep dive into what's going on in a pandemic year?
Yeah. But even look, like Sweden, okay, they finished number 1 after the round robin, but let me tell you, like they had a lot of games where they did not play well, and it was not the Sweden that we're used to seeing.
Oh, that game against Canada, we have to remember that.
Yeah.
That was another late night game.
But even like Switzerland too, like they've been up and down, and I think maybe this pause of curling might have benefited them a little bit.
I hope so, because I called them.
And actually, out of all the teams left, I think I'm gunning for them. So, Team
Mhm.
Switzerland, if you're listening, give us a follow back on Instagram and
That's
reach
right.
out.
And give us one of your watches.
Yes. Oh, did I tell you I found out what the watch was?
Yes. So what is it?
I think it's an Omega one.
Okay. Oh,
And
nice.
the only reason I found this out is that I went to Valentine Tanner's Instagram, and he had a picture of him on the beach wearing the watch, or it was the watch with the beach as the
Hmm.
background, and he had Omega tagged in it.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's the exact watch that they're wearing right now, but I'm gonna say it's a very nice watch. So
I could, only one way to find out. You got to send us some, Team DeCruz.
please.
By the way, I'm just, because we always draw parallels between curling and football. I just thought of one, and it was, so there, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a Super Bowl several years ago, where it was between San Francisco and I believe Baltimore.
Okay.
And San Francisco was led by Colin Kaepernick at the time, and
This is the
Baltimore was,
pre-Garoppolo days.
yes, a long time before that, and Baltimore was killing them. The game was a runaway, and at halftime, I believe it was Beyonce who was the halftime entertainment, and she had this big light show, pyrotechnics, typical Super Bowl show, and it was so heavy on the electricity that it blew out the lights,
Oh, I
and there was
remember
this
this.
massive hour-long delay
Yes.
before the game could resume. And all of a sudden, that was the best thing that could happen to San Francisco. They were down, I don't know, something like 25.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, they're first and goal with a chance to win the game. And they didn't get in, so they lost. But went right down to the wire. And I'm thinking, had that big interruption never happened, that would not have happened. And so I'm thinking that maybe this is the same thing for Team Switzerland.
Well, yeah, any big break is like it breaks the momentum for the good or the bad. So, and now Sweden and Russia, like they're playing at the 6 p.m. draw now. They haven't been on the ice, or I don't know if they've had practice, but like they haven't played since Friday afternoon. So they've gone a
Mm-hmm.
good over 24 hours with no playing.
Right. And meanwhile, Switzerland could get 3 games in today.
Let's do it, Switzerland. If they make it to the final, I will try my best to stay up until 2 in the morning.
Okay. And I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Okay. Um I guess some more like lighthearted news. I want to talk about Matt Hamilton for a hot minute.
Okay.
Can we go
The
there?
floor is yours, of course. Is this about his ShamWow or whatever that is in his back pocket?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Matt Hamilton obviously plays for Team USA. And I think that like if you were going to take all of the players and kind of line them up and you had to guess who played for which country, like Matt Hamilton would be like he's your all-American. I feel like he just came out of like you could have picked him out of a 70s baseball team with the hair and then cloth hanging out of his back pocket, which I don't know what he like if he uses it to like pat his forehead dry or something after sleeping, and then he has a stopwatch sticking out of the other butt pocket, and then he has quite the flowy hair, kind of like a I was gonna say an old baseball player with because he wears the baseball cap too, or even
Hmm.
someone who came out of a classic rock band, like he played for the Eagles or something, or he sang for the Eagles or something like that kind of look. Anyways, I find it very interesting.
I agree. I know I'm not adding anything at all there, but no, I agree.
But I do have one question to throw out to Matt Hamilton because we know that he listens. How on earth are you able to play with your hair down like that, even if you're wearing a baseball cap? Like how how are you able to sweep and not have your hair get into the way?
Mm.
Because as a female, that's like a huge problem. And I always have my hair tied up, even if I'm skipping. Like, I can't do it. I guess
I'm not
kudos to him.
qualified to talk about this at all, but I would agree. I would think that I'm such a stickler for everything. Like, I feel my slide gets changed if I wear a different jacket than what I'm used to. So I don't understand how
Oh,
people.
well, speaking of change, so you know how we were saying that Canada was in some hot water there and not gonna make the playoffs?
Mhm.
But let me tell you, did you notice that Molding shaved his beard off?
Yeah, like I couldn't do that. This is coming from the person with the least facial hair ever. But if I had a beard and I shaved it, I'd be like, no, it'll throw off my slide.
Well, for sure, because then you're like you feel like more air on your face,
Yeah.
especially when you're throwing those takeouts, right? But anyways, I feel like he's such a character. He's just so not, and I'm talking about Matt Hamilton here again. You just don't see that look very often for curlers. Like usually we're pretty clean cut,
Mhm.
but he's going all retro here. So
And good for him because he's a good representative for the sport. He's appeared on like Jimmy Kimmel or I mean Jimmy Fallon, one of these
one of
late
the
night
Jimmys.
Jimmy hosts. Yeah, or he's appeared on late night talk show host, which I don't know if those are still all the rage, but I'm thinking, hey, for curling, we'll take that.
Good promotion. No, he's a
Yeah.
very outgoing guy, and I think he's a good rep for curling in the States for sure. But actually, I read something on Reddit the other day. Just a little segue here. There was a Reddit post where someone asked like, "What's the difference between kids, I guess like millennial kids in high school versus the current kids in high school?" And someone was, and obviously teachers were responding to this. And you're a teacher, so I'm kind of throwing the question
Mm-hmm.
back to you. But one of the comments said is that like now the in style for guys is to grow out mullets. Mullets are back. So I don't know if this is a
Oh,
thing in your
I've
school.
not really noticed that. No,
Oh no, okay,
no.
good, because
I mean, they kind of are in the sense that it's much harder to get a haircut than it used to be.
that too.
Like, I nearly pulled off a bit of a mullet at this time last year. But yeah, I've not really noticed that. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe it hasn't reached Canada yet.
No, maybe as I've learned throughout this whole pandemic, it's not that we're better, it's that we're behind. So
Yeah.
whatever's happening somewhere else will happen here too eventually.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, so we should probably acknowledge that it's been a pretty sloppy week for us, and by us I really mean me. You know, Kelly, we make predictions almost all the time. They're really really wrong. Well, this time we got the entire format of something wrong.
Yes.
So we should probably and by we again, it's pretty much me.
It's okay. I didn't fact check it, so it's on me too.
Well, yeah, thank you. But so after the tons of praise that we got for the great idea of inventing a March Madness bracket for curling for the mixed doubles, we said, oh well, hey, there's a bracket for the Worlds. It's a very short bracket with these 6 teams, and we'll
Mhm.
fill ours in and we'll put it on Instagram just like we did before, and we'll get thousands of comments from people saying, "Oh, what an interesting pick," and then some math genius would be able to explain how to score it. It was not meant to be because, as it turned out, after I rushed home to get it onto Instagram in time, I turned on TSN and Vic says, "Now this is not a bracket format." So actually, if Sweden will play the lowest remaining seed later on, which actually makes good sense. I think it's better than a bracket format. But the way they had set it up on TV, it made it look like one. It fooled me. It fooled us. And so yeah, we have misled everyone.
Yeah. Should we say what the actual playoff format is?
Yeah, so the top 2 teams got a bye. They were not going to face the winner of a particular game. Sweden is the top seed. They will face the lowest remaining seed in the semifinal, which is now Switzerland.
Mhm.
RCF will play Scotland, and then the winners face off at an unholy hour of the night tonight.
I just pulled up our office pool results.
Oh
Remember
yeah, that too.
thing?
It was not that wasn't too sharp for us either.
No, we started off the week really well, and then it quickly went downhill.
And I got to give you credit because just first of all, to close the book on the bracket. So yeah, we know we shouldn't have done that. We got it wrong. I think you win automatically because at least even though I think you got both games so far completely wrong.
Yeah.
I think that your matchups were at least possible. Whereas I got one of them right. I predicted Switzerland over USA, but I have them playing RCF, which is not possible.
No, no.
So I think you win. And now let's get to what we both lose at.
Okay, so last week we talked about this Office Pools website where you can win a pair of tickets to next year's Briar Scotties and also a pair of bar stools if you're missing those in your place.
I am.
I'm sure a lot of people are. So we finished. So this is they stopped counting after the round robin. And I also put in our pick for the quarterfinal, but it seems like they've disappeared. So, anyways,
Oh,
this is just counting after the end of the round robin. So we finished with a total of 62 points, and it's 1 point per win. So we guessed quite a few games correct. But our ranking is 1,619.
which is an improvement. We were a lot lower at one point,
Well, we made
but we
it
were a
up.
lot higher too, right?
Yeah, we made it up to like 500 at some point. But the
Oh, wow.
person right now, there's one person in first place with 77 points, and their name is Rider Nation. So I can only assume that this person is from Saskatchewan.
I would think. Or Ottawa from a long time ago.
Oh, that too. That too. Highly doubt it. Or maybe it's someone from Saskatchewan that now lives in Ottawa. The rest there are other people tied for second place. But congratulations to Rider Nation for winning.
Yes, enjoy your bar stools. I have to apologize, which I'll do publicly here because so we did this together. This was a team effort, but we kind of did it without really consulting each other, which is kind of an interesting experience. So first of all, I did a terrible job because I either forgot about it or logged in and changed some of your predictions. Most of the time for the worse.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit bad about that. I think we could
But
have
to
been
be
higher.
fair,
Maybe
I changed some of yours too at some point. So
okay.
we
It's
even
one of
out.
those things. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like because as we've mentioned on the podcast before, prior to the pandemic, we also like to do bar trivia, and there's always those questions where we're debating. Like, oh, I'm pretty sure it's A. I'm pretty sure it's B. Or
Yeah,
not that they're multiple choice, but we're always debating an answer, and whatever one we finally settle on, it's going to be the other
for
one.
sure.
And
Exactly.
so I felt like that a little bit this week.
Yeah,
But
but at least on our bar trivia team, like I think everyone kind of has their designated topic of expertise. So if it's a sports question, like I'm not going to veto any answer. Like that's your category. Whereas if it's comes to geography, I don't know why I know a lot of geography facts, but I do, and I'm going to die on that hill to put my answer.
exactly.
And so yeah, but I guess with curling we're pretty even since we both know about it. But
I know. It's just kind of weird to go in and like change somebody's answer without telling them.
it's all right.
I
I
felt
mean,
really bad. And then when of course
it's not like we
uh
can win anyways, right? Because Quebec can't participate in anything. So
no, but you know what, we can maybe for the women's worlds we can make our own separate accounts and
oh,
we'll
and
make it a
see who does the
competition.
better. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. But the women's isn't until May, so
No, so oh my
we'll
god,
see.
that'll be
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm not too. I think I'm gonna have to take a little break when it comes to the Grand Slams. I'm a little like curled out right now.
oh yeah, like I really don't care about them at all. I might put them on in the background and maybe I'll look up who's in first place for us to talk about, but I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure we'll have many other things too. It will not be a very grand slam heavy podcast next week.
No, maybe we'll do like one episode that talks about both of them, and
Hmm.
then get back into the women's world, and that will be the
Right.
end of our season.
The one thing is though, Kelly, they will have different commercials.
Oh, that's true. Because it's on Sportsnet, right?
Yeah, different sponsors. The
Ah,
Humpty's
dear.
Cup
All
or
right,
whatever.
I will sacrifice some of my time to watch. Come on, it's been over a year that we've seen some Pinty commercials.
That's true. I've been waiting for those.
Oh, did I tell you about that time I had a for the Super Bowl because usually me and my friend who is American who doesn't know anything about football, but she does watch the Super Bowl because it is a holiday there.
So she's not doing the Super Bowl challenge.
No, 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 no. But this year because we couldn't go out to a bar, we brought the bar to my place. And so we cooked all the stereotypical things you would eat at a Super Bowl party. And I went to the grocery store. I went to two grocery stores. looking for Pinty's wings because I was just like, well, they pumped a lot of money in their marketing, and I'm a curler, so I should support curling brands. And I couldn't find them. I could not find Pinty's chicken wings. I don't know where I was going with that, but
Being a vegetarian, I've never actually bought, or actually, I have probably a long, long time ago. But yeah, I can't comment on. I don't know where they are.
maybe they just haven't bothered translating their boxes, so they're not available in Quebec.
Oh no, I
That could
hope
be
that's not it.
That's a thing too. So
It's true.
I'll keep my eye out for them, and if I do finally find a box of Pinty's chicken wings, I will come back with my review.
Hmm. And actually, very quickly, because man, we're even exchanging messages from the grocery store now as you look for Pinty's, and we've noticed we have fellow podcasters out there who have their own line of beer.
Yes,
I don't know. I'm just saying, I'd be happy to start
a beer.
that conversation. Yeah.
I think so. Well, I mean, I think we should at some point once we get a big enough following or enough sponsors, because can't have curling without beer. Like, what else are you gonna drink after your game, right?
Mm-hmm. And you know what I think is also good is that you and I don't think really see eye to eye when it comes to beer.
No.
I don't think we have the exact same beer taste, which to me, this is a good thing. We'll have even more variety that way.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I prefer, if anyone's interested, I prefer the more blondes, light beers, white beers.
Oh, and I'm pro IPA all the way.
Mm,
That or things that are dark or stouts too.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I can't do stouts. Like a Guinness.
Guinness, not so much,
No.
but
Or even like brown ales. Like, I mean, I can drink them. It's not, if someone was getting me beer and they got me that, like, I can totally drink it.
it depends what you're eating too. Like if you're pairing it with something.
Yeah.
Remember those days when you could go to restaurants?
No, they seems like an eternity
It's a distant
ago.
memory.
But do you know what I noticed? I've been going to my little local dep here, my local depanneur,
Which is a corner store if you live outside of Quebec.
and I've noticed there's been a huge increase in craft beer, and it's one thing I've started to do during the pandemic is trying these craft beers, and I just love the marketing for them because they have like themes. They just have a range of beers ranging from the pilsners to the IPAs and everything in between. And actually, yesterday it was the nicest weekend we've had this year so far. So me and my friend, we went out for a little picnic on the grass. And I don't know where you live, but here in Quebec, you can walk and drink beer openly in the park.
You're technically not supposed to, but no one's going to stop you during a pandemic.
Yeah. So, but this time I actually found I picked up a new brand, and it was like Italian car themed. So, and it's a local brand, but every type of beer had like a different car. I don't know. The whole packaging was really cute. It tasted like regular beer. Like it wasn't anything special, or at least my palate's not good enough to really critique the beer. But it was really cute.
So there's opportunities here.
Yeah, there's definitely. So I feel like we could do a curling marketing theme here.
In fact, I did try a curling themed beer once from Bose, which is a big microbrewery. That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? But out of Van Cleek Hill, which is near the Quebec-Ontario border, and they have some interesting local beers, and they made a curling beer once, and I loved its name. It was called Burnt Rock.
Oh, nice. But you see, this is what we could do. Like every type of beer could be a different shot.
Hogline violation.
Burnt stone.
Dry effect.
Dead on.
Oh, now we've got something.
Oh yeah, I feel we won't have a shortage of beer names. If any of our listeners out there own a beer factory or know anything about making beer, please reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to collaborate with you. But until then, we're going to wrap this episode up. The next game is about to start in about 15 minutes here. So I'm going to turn my TV on to that while cooking dinner. And
okay, quick prediction. Because let's throw out the whole bracket
thing. We have no idea who's going to be in the final yet.
I know. I have to stop and think, like, who's even in it? Okay,
we
so
got
it's RCF Scotland.
RCF Scotland. I think RCF is going to get this one.
Okay, I do too. I'm not just saying that. I was going to say that.
And then Sweden, Switzerland. I'm going to just say Switzerland because I want them to win. Like, this is more of a me want them to win. Like, they're going to go 3 for 3 today. And then Switzerland, RCF final with Switzerland winning.
Okay, I'm going to say Sweden over RCF in the final tonight. That way, between what we said 2 weeks ago, what we said last week, what we put on our erroneous bracket, and what we've said now, I think one of us must have the right combination.
One of our predictions are going to win. And I feel like so much has happened this week. It's been up and down, and so have our predictions. So,
And all I can say, like, this is my parting thought, because I'm going to, like I said, tape the game, and I won't have an opportunity to sit down till like 9 o'clock tomorrow night to watch it. So I will try that. I just really hope the games can go off without any more glitches, because if I spend all day dodging social media and the news and coworkers to avoid hearing this, and I find out that I taped a bunch of golf, I'm not going to be too happy.
I would be incredibly pissed off if I were you. But maybe, yeah, at least you know the games are going to be on YouTube. So it's your fallback.
That's right.
All right. Well, catch us next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.